Okay, in the art scroll, we'll now be on page 570, Mishnah 26. Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda, Ish Kapar Habavli says, the flip side. Right? We just said, let's learn when you're young. Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda, Ish Kafar Habavli, he comes from Bavel. He says, Halomed min hakatanim, lama hudome. Okay, well, a person who learns from the young, what are they similar to? Le'ochel onavim kechot, v'shota yaim magito. It's like a person who eats the unripe, right, the sour, unripe grapes right off the vine, or a person who drinks the unfermented wine, right, the freshly crushed, the crush, and drinks it right out of his vat. He's not willing to wait. If you learn from the young. So the last Mishnah was, what's it like what do you compare a person to who learns when he's young? So this is now, what if you have a teacher who's young? What do you compare to someone who learns from the young and inexperienced? People who, what they're always into is what's new. All right, I want to know what's new. What's new, what's hip, what's in, what's rocking, what's on the edge. What do you call a person who's always trying to learn from what's trending? So there's a person who drinks, right, untested wine before it's ready and eats grapes before they come to ripeness, to fruition. Chalomed min hazakenim, but a person who learns from elders, lamahudam, what's he similar to? La'ochel onavim b'shulot, v'shota yaim yashan. That's like a person who eats ripe, sweet, tasty grapes and drinks old, mature wine. So he flips it. He says, there's nothing wrong with youth. Youth is for learning. Right? He seems to be not so much for teaching. And it's funny, on the one hand, youth is a person who grabs bitter grapes and sweet wine. Right? Learning from an elder, you're grabbing sweet grapes and bitter wine. Right? Tart wine. But what's good? What's bad? It's a question of patience. So the idea is that there is the simple, straightforward idea is that there's something to be said for experience. Right? That we've taught this, we've seen, in this question of perfection, and when a person is 70 years old, you stand for them. Why? Because there's an assumption that anybody who's been through that much time and has that much practical experience, even if it's just in the school of hard knocks, has some sense of how the world works. Right? That there's ideas that are kind of tried and true. Right? We believe in a concept of ripening. Right? That just because an idea is new and hip doesn't mean it's going to work. Let's get it out. Let's get it in the market. Let's let it get tested by time. Let's see how it works out. Let's see how it, works through a couple of cycles, and see how it goes. But just because it sounds, the newest fad is the newest fad, right? The newest fad is a person who doesn't have the patience to wait to see, right? To let the grape ripen. He's taking the must and drinking it straight out of the stomping barrel rather than, patience. Right? Rabbi Meir, now he's the student of Rav Elisha. Now he looks at both of these. He comes back really at our second Mishnah, our Mishnah that says, don't learn from the young. And he says, Al tistakel b'kankon. Don't look at the vessel. Don't look at the pitcher. Look at what's in the pitcher. Don't look at Elisha ben Avuya, my teacher, and say he's broken. Look at what's in him. Don't look at the young guy and say, you know what, he's young, what can he teach me? Don't look at the old guy and say he's old, he must have a lot to say. Meir says, you know what, he disagrees. He says, push comes to shove, it's not a question of the vessel. It's a question of the message. Yesh kan chadash mala yashan. You know what? There are young vessels that are full of old wine. he's a young guy, but his teacher taught him well. The ideas he has, we're not saying just because he's a young guy doesn't mean the ideas are his ideas. Those are old ideas. They're ripe ideas. They're structured ideas. Right? And this Yashan Shafilu Chadash Einbo. And they're old vessels that doesn't matter. There's nothing in there. They don't even have new wine. They're just basically useless. Right? Youth has a place. Right? Youth and naivete and innocence is for learning. Right? But we're as a people, we're not always looking for the newest fad. Right? We're thousands of years into the process and we've got thousands of years to go. And, it's hard to tell your kid, I want you to sign up for, this is the program that your great-great-great-great-grandfather had. I mean, it in some ways I find it humorous. I was having a discussion with my wife yesterday. And we had to do something. I said, you know what? Basically, the conversation translated into English is, tomorrow I'll go see the family scribe. And you go see the sulfur. Right? How many people in the modern world have ever heard of or seen a scribe? Right? He's a scribe. But we not only is he a scribe, we have a personal family scribe. Yeah. Right? How old-fashioned can you get? Right? But we live in a society that wants to throw everything out. Right? The pictures you saved on, VHS tapes 10 years ago, if you don't get them transferred over to DVD now, they're going to be gone. But the downside is DVD's only got a few more years. You got to really get it to some sort of other digital format in the cloud. But who knows if that cloud provider is going to be there next week? It's like we live in this ephemeral world where nothing lasts for more than minutes. So he says, you got to be careful. Don't always be trying to chase what's new. New is often untested. Rabbi Meir says, listen, new or old, it's what's in it. Right? It could be a new teacher and a new concept. Right? We're not Amish. We're not afraid of technology. Right? We were discussing today, you look on the wall, there's a dedication to the tape of the person who dedicated the tape library. Right? This building is 10 years old. When it was built, there was a tape library. And that was like a modern new thing. There's no such thing as a tape library anymore. The technology is a technology that's come and gone in a handful of years. But as an innovation, the idea that you can take and share a class is amazing. Right? The fact that we're going to take this and try to put it on the web where people can read it, listen to it, and preserve it and make it real. Just because it's new doesn't make it bad. Doesn't make it bad. Just because it's old doesn't make the idea consistent or good. Remeir says, look at the content. So that's our mission.